Is there longer term or medium term upside for tariffs in the US for American companies?
Look, maybe. I mean, the traditional classical answer is no, that tariffs are very, very bad. But my argument for this is that the reason the tariffs are coming in is not actually stated publicly, and that's because there is no way to lift taxes in the US except for tariffs. And they have to close the deficit somehow, and they're not going to have a consumption tax, and they're not going to lift income tax. So the only way to do it, I think, is tariffs. Now, of course, Trump doesn't say that, but I think some of the hard heads in the Treasury would be saying, look, we have to bridge this gap somehow, and you can make the political argument that you're going to bring back all the jobs. Now, certainly in some cases that happens, but most economists will say that in net terms it does not. We'll just have to wait and see.
As the migrants coming across the border, arguably going into low-paid jobs, has that had an impact, the undocumented migrants?
Well, certainly it does put downward pressure on wages, and that's bad for the sorts of people who vote for Donald Trump. And so I think that is partly the economic reason. I mean, he often couches it as a crime issue, but I think there's the economic issue there that it has downward pressure on wages. And
Which probably accounts for the growth in his Hispanic vote.
Oh, yes, certainly. I mean, he's had huge growth in the vote in that group. And he's probably also aware that these tariffs are going to increase prices for these people in some goods. And so he wants some upward pressure on wages at the same time to counteract that.
OK, let's go to some comments from someone we both know well, Malcolm Turnbull. He opened up a front with Donald Trump some time ago. Trump responded, so picked up very quickly by the president. Out he goes on Truth Social. And then, of course, Malcolm Turnbull can't help himself, doubles down last night. Let's have a listen.
I do not believe you should give in to bullies, right? Now, what Trump wants people to suck up to him and to be sycophantic. Pretty much all the people I've seen, international leaders, that have sucked up to Trump and been sycophants have been run over.
Nail in the coffin for tariff exemptions for Australia, do you think?
Oh, look, I think it certainly is. But I mean, that said, I don't think that we were going to get an exemption anyway. But this is very unhelpful. And I really think the former Prime Minister should have, basically kept his mouth shut on this. I mean, he knows what Trump's like. He knows Trump well. He's met him many times. And there was a very good chance that Trump would seize on those comments because his advisors will be showing him these comments from various other leaders. And, then he'd read it and then then he'd
Yeah, particularly because he picked up the first round of comments. So he knows that he's watching and listening and reading. Then to do it again, right when the decision's in the offing, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, look, and I think it's pretty clear. First time around in 2018, when we did get an exemption, I think that was, I think the US administration was not happy about that at the time, and so I think this time they're not going to give it. But that said, I don't think the first round effects of the tariffs on Australia will be that bad because our exports to the US are actually quite low. I think the secondary effects of tariffs on China, they're far more worrying for Australia.
I know you watch energy closely, you've watched it from afar in the United States and all the global movements, but what do you think of a place like Victoria, a state like Victoria, energy rich? No, don't believe the lie about this gas shortage we've got. We've got a supply shortage, but plenty of gas in the ground. We are about to spend millions and demand every other state chip in by the federal government to put LNG import terminals in Victoria to supply the gas that we will not dig the ground out of.
Well, the first thing is the contrast with the US is just extraordinary. Because over there it's drill, 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 as the president famously says, and it is extraordinary to think that we have a shortage. I mean, it's so ridiculous to me that we're importing LNG when we have so much gas ourselves. And the sad thing is the electorate doesn't seem to see the madness of this, and of course it all stems from these net zero policies, which are economically insane. So look, we really have to fix this in Victoria in particular, where we are right now. These rules are crazy, and as the resource boom eventually peters off. I mean, you're already seeing China's demand for iron ore is falling. We need new industries. We need new investment. And so these bans are just crazy.
And the rest of the world's changing their mind. I mean, the rest of the world is coming around radically to a return of fossil fuels and nuclear. We're 1% of the problem and we're this enormous laggard.
Yeah, certainly that is true. I mean, we should be looking at Europe and seeing what's happening. And I think it is happening. I mean, my personal view is the high water mark of net zero fanaticism has passed, has subsided, and I think we're going down the other side.
I hope you're right.
Yes, indeed.
Good to have you home, Adam.
Thank you.